United. So Steve, as a Newcastle fan, what is your stance on the takeover?
Well, I'm delighted that somebody wants to buy Newcastle United. We've had 10 years of Mike Ashley's tenure, and it's now time for him to sell Newcastle United. That's my opinion. I think he came in with all guns blazing and rode in on his white steed to save us from the previous owners, which were obviously Freddie Shepherd and Douglas Hall, who had taken the club as far as they could, but had financially got themselves into a bit of a mess. They couldn't compete with the likes of Abramovich at Chelsea, and now we've got Mike Ashley who rides in on a silver steed, and we all thought it was going to be plain sailing. But for me, his time's up, and having a takeover would be great.
So there's been a massive saga about the whole situation. A couple of bids were placed from Amanda Staveley. Then Mike Ashley said that he was not involved with PCP anymore. Your thoughts on did you see the takeover breaking down?
I think it was interesting to see how it all developed. I think with Amanda coming to the game in October against Liverpool very publicly, and essentially announcing that PCP were certainly floating around Newcastle and were interested was a PR stunt, I would presume. But I think then you look at Mike Ashley and his PR guys. I think it's been a battle of the PR guys, but they are the people who do the deal. They're the ones who put the spin on it. I think the deal ultimately has to come down to Mike Ashley and Amanda Staveley. Mike has an asking price. Amanda has to see whether she can match that, whether she's willing to. The key really is due diligence. Due diligence is done. Once due diligence is done, they can come back with an offer, which she did, not just on one occasion, not just on 2 occasions, but 3 occasions, as was pointed out in the George Culkin article in the Times. And the 3 bids that she came in with were her view on how much Newcastle United's worth. Mike Ashley obviously thinks that it's worth more, and we had what appeared to be a PR spat as opposed to a spat between the two of them. There was obviously a breakdown, and is the takeover off? No, I don't believe it is at all.
So it's been a very interesting transfer window. Ashley saying that he would commit to the club and invest money. Currently doesn't look like that's going to be the case. I noticed on Twitter that you've been posting photos of a parody site counting down the days that Rafa has left to be backed. What do you think about this transfer window and this game as well as a whole? Do you reckon this game could be one of the most important in the club's history?
I don't think this game is the most important in the club's history. There's bigger games ahead. Crystal Palace away against one of your relegation rivals is a key. We're going in against Burnley tonight, who are currently sitting in the top half of the table and who've been in the Premier League for a few years now. They're established under Sean Dyche, and they've had the money that we haven't had with 2 relegations in the last 10 years. So tonight isn't a key game. It's a home game. You want to win your home games, but we're struggling at home for whatever reason that is. Away against Crystal Palace at the weekend is a much bigger game for me. With regards to Twitter, it's a great medium for getting your feelings out there, or to help people out and to push things. We're across the road here from the food bank, and that's benefited massively from social media. But I think it's just most fans want to get the message out there to Mike Ashley that 10 years is up. You want to sell the club. You've said you want to sell the club, and for us it feels right for us as well. There's a willing buyer there. Get the deal done, and for us, it's time for Mike Ashley to leave Newcastle United.
Perfect. What do you think the club being taken over would mean, not just for Newcastle United, but for the city of Newcastle?
I think it would be massive. I mean, we don't know the full details, but let's look at it now with Amanda Staveley and what we know. We know that PCP have got money. They've come in with a substantial bid. We presume the deal's not off, and we expect her to come back with a better offer for Mike Ashley once the TV deal's announced in mid-February. So I think we expect then a deal to be done. I think we expect Mike Ashley to basically stay by his word and sell the club. What do I expect from any potential owner? And presuming it's PCP, investment, certainly in the playing side. Reading her interview with George Culkin that did, she promised investment into the squad, talked about investment in this window, which obviously now won't happen, but obviously investment in the window in the summer. Talking about reaching out to the community. I thought the connection with the Rubens was very, very interesting, because the Reuben family have invested heavily in this area already. Currently own the race course, bought a lot of big buildings, bought the Market Street police station in Newcastle. So essentially they've invested in the area. They've distanced themselves from the deal, but nothing by the sounds of it had been signed. So I think the fact that the Reubens were even mentioned, this billionaire family were mentioned as part of a consortium, I think is a massive positive. And I think any new owner needs to look at investing in Newcastle as a city, and investing in the community, and investing in the academy, as well as investing in the football club. And I think that will go a long way to taking this club forward, which is where we all want to be.
It's very well said. Just going back to Mike Ashley once more, do you believe he has done anything good for the club?
I do, yes. It's been well publicised. I've protested against Mike Ashley. Dressed as a vicar and came under a lot of scrutiny and a lot of attack on social media for dressing as a vicar and helping Mike Ashley Out campaign walk along here with a coffin on Barrack Road. I regret dressing as the vicar because of the bad publicity, and the bad comments it got us, but I did it for the right reasons. Mike Ashley's made a lot of mistakes, appointing Dennis Wise, renaming the stadium, appointing Joe Kinnear, changing the name of the stadium. The list is endless. However, what he has done is he's come in, he took the club over at a time when we needed taking over, and he's put interest-free loans in, which essentially he wants back now as part of the deal. But he's done more wrong than right. Has he been better than previous owners, the likes of Lord Westwood going back in the day? He probably has. But I suppose we'll only know the true legacy that he leaves behind once Amanda Staveley and PCP or whoever it is come in and take the club over, and I think that's when we'll know what Mike Ashley's legacy is, because only then we will know exactly what state the club's in. But the fact that they've done due diligence and it hasn't put them off, I think is a positive. So obviously the club is in a good shape, and that is partially down to Mike Ashley.
Just two more questions. If Ashley does not sell the club by the end of the season, do you reckon the club will go down?
I don't think the club will go down. I think we've got a fantastic manager in Rafa Benitez. We're the best manager we've had since Sir Bobby Robson. And I personally feel that Rafa Benitez will keep this squad of players up. Subsequently, the players were brought in on loan in this transfer window. The two were signed today were probably completely unexpected by most fans, but I think that'll be the difference. I think the big key for us is of course Lascelles. Somebody who's grown in stature since he came out of that outburst when we got relegated the last time. He's become captain. He's learning in every game. He's becoming a better defender under Rafa Benitez, and I certainly feel that the key to staying up is keeping him fit. I think if we keep Lascelles fit, keep him out of the England team until the World Cup, try not to get him injured in any friendlies, but I think we'll be okay, and I don't think we'll be involved in the relegation deadline. The end of the season, I don't think we'll be involved in that battle. But I personally feel that Rafa will keep us up. If Mike Ashley stays, I think the animosity will grow. I think fans have been very patient with Mike Ashley over the last couple of years. Certainly hasn't been many protests against him. I think people have got sick of protesting. People don't want him owning our football club and have just been waiting for a potential new owner to arrive. We now have one. I think people would be very disappointed if Mike Ashley is still at the club at the end of the year, at the end of the season. And then Rafa has a decision to make. He still has a contract to keep to. But what is Rafa going to do? Is Rafa going to stay if there's a big job comes up? Who knows? I think he will. He loves the fans. He's bought into the area and ethos to this club. But what will happen is it's up in the air at the minute.
Perfect. Just a final question as well. Do you believe there's a bright future for the club?
I do if there's a takeover. I do believe that if Amanda Staveley and PCP take over Newcastle United Football Club, we're going to be in a different position than we are now. I think we'll be in a much better position. I think we'll be in a place where we can compete again. I'm not saying that we're going to be world beaters and we're going to win the Champions League. What I'm saying is we'll have a team that is managed by a manager of Rafa Benitez's calibre, and which suddenly starts getting things right. And look, I think we're all reasonable. Our support. We're not expecting great things, but all we want is to be able to enter the League Cup and the FA Cup at the start of the season and know we've got a chance of winning it. Know we're competing and we're trying to win it, and trying to get back to those days of competing in Europe. There was something on social media a couple of days ago where someone had pointed out that the previous 10 seasons prior to Mike Ashley being the owner, we were in Europe all bar one of those seasons. We've been in once under Mike's ownership. So listen, he bought the club for one reason and one reason only, and that was to promote his sports brand globally. He's done that now. He's got everything he wanted out of it. It's time to say goodbye. Time to sell Newcastle United.
Perfect. Steve, thank you very much. We really appreciate it.
No problem.